Man, we got story time with my guy, Coach Mario Edwards. Coach, coming from the Gula, what was your welcome to Tallahassee moment? When did you realize you was in a big time football place?
Uh, Probably my first moment was when we had to report as freshmen, 1995. It wasn't as obviously technology wasn't as great as it is today. You couldn't really track who you were going to be in school with. You could read about them through the newspaper, but it wasn't as accessible to get to as it is today. So I happened to come in with two highly touted receivers, a Randy Moss and a Peter Ward. And didn't know much about them, but I was a pretty brash football player coming from the Gula. And came into the dining hall. I remember those two guys were sitting over there by themselves, minding their business. And I come in there not minding mine, and I see that at the wide receiver table. And I go over there, and I do start to antagonize them and just tell them what the next day was going to be like for them. And they didn't, they listened for a while. And I remember Moss looking at Pete and say, "Hey, Dub, do you hear him?" Pete's kind of like, "Yeah." And Moss said, "Hey, dude, tomorrow we're going to kill you." And when tomorrow came, the killing commenced. I mean, that's the first time I was ever just beaten consistently on plays and didn't really have an answer. And I'm coming from a high school 5A program, which was the highest classification at the time in Mississippi. Had never been beat. Hadn't given up more than maybe 2 touchdowns my whole time as a cornerback. And I go to Florida State and I can't win a rep. Can't win a rep, can't buy a win. And this happened consistently. This wasn't just one day. This happened day after day after day after day. And it challenges your manhood. It really challenges you as a football player when you're used to winning and being him, and all of a sudden you show up against dudes and you ain't even close to being him. And you know these guys are ahead of you. You know they're better football players than you at this particular time. To me, that was my first time being introduced to big time Power 5 football at the highest level. At that time, Florida State was the school you wanted to be at if you were a defensive player, defensive back in particular. So that was my first major introduction to big time football, was the first day at the dining hall when we reported as freshmen.
Man, look here. We're going to close it out. The real DBU is where?
Where it sits in Tallahassee. Yeah, Tallahassee. The stadium they play in is called Doak Campbell. Florida State University, if you haven't caught on yet, is DBU, baby.
DBU, and my guy was a part of that history. And we're going to do this every week. Story time with Coach Mario Edwards.
Tune in.